Well, hello everybody. So this might be the beginning of something new. I actually had to go back in and re-record the introduction because there were some issues on video. And if y'all ever come on, just remember the video's on. And if you're walking around half clothed or maybe not completely clothed, um, we're going to want to edit that out to respect everybody's privacy. Um, but regardless of that, what's cool is since my intro didn't record, I actually get to come back and give you a little bit of a recap of the amazing conversation that we had with Sara Landon today. And y'all go into this call. It's a long one, but the processes, the information that comes through, the back and forth between Sara and I, the Q&A that came in, the light pyramid activation, that happens at the end of the call, but you're going to want to listen to the whole call to get there because there's a buildup towards it, was absolutely amazing. So take some you time, really relax into this conversation and enjoy the beautiful journey that you will be taken on today. And if you're not familiar with Sara, Sara's a dear friend. She's this powerful communicator, channel and embodier of the wisdom of a collective called the Council. And all of it interweaves in through our conversation, and you're in for magnificent treats. So I hope you join. Well, I don't hope, I know you will enjoy this call as you give this time to yourself. And welcome to tonight's BTO extraordinary call.
When you get triggered, when you find yourself in reaction, stop. Go within you and align with what you most want in that moment. Don't contribute to the fear. Don't contribute to the suffering. Don't contribute to the struggle and the chaos. Stay conscious. So if that means that you have to slow down a little bit in these times, if that means that you have to really take some extra time for yourself and extra space for yourself, spend more time in nature, then do it. Because that is what the world needs most from you, is to stay conscious and to stay present. The most powerful change is created through consciousness, presence, and love. Not by getting on the bandwagon of what is wrong and who is bad and whose fault it is. The most powerful change is created through consciousness, presence, and love. And that is what the world needs most from you.
That's so beautiful. Well, it's something that you've been talking about in several ways for quite a while now, and it's being in our mastery, period. And that's what's being called. And how do we know we're in our mastery? But in times like this, that we actually get to exercise that's already in us. That, and I want to call it, and it's probably not the proper term, but we've been initiated through the experience, and we're aware of what we carry during these times. It becomes so much more evident.
Yeah. And people want to do something. I get that. This is not about not doing something, but this is not about taking action from a triggered or reactive place. There is a grander perspective here. There is a higher viewpoint of what is going on. And we all know that. We all can feel it. We might not know what it is, but you know there's some greater plan going on here. And you've got to trust and align yourself to that higher perspective, to that higher awareness. From the Council's perspective, it is not about right or wrong, because we have all been all things. Whether you believe in past lives, if you believe in past lives, that makes a lot of sense. We've all been all things. We've all been the poor and the rich. We've all been the white and the black. We've all been the victim and the one that created and caused harm. We've all been the murderer and we've all been the murdered. We've been the one that was controlled and the one that controlled others. We've all been all things. It's easy to see that if you look at life believing that we've had multiple incarnations, but you can see it so clearly in your own life. I know you, John, we talk about this a lot. It's like we talk about our past life, which just meant our life 10 years ago that we can't even imagine living right now. We can't even imagine being those people again. Not that we're at the core so dramatically different, but yet we weren't really living our truth and who we who we are. And yet, you know, in doing so, you attract a lot of things, or not attract a lot of things, you allow a lot of things that aren't necessarily aligned with you. You're finding your way. And I can look back in my own life at how many different times I played all of these different archetypal roles. And so we've all been all things on some level, on some end of the spectrum, when we ourselves were in a state of lower consciousness or less conscious. We created harm to ourselves and others. When we were in our own less conscious states, we created fear and chaos and trauma and drama. When we were in our own less conscious states, we did things that betrayed our own soul for safety and security. And so when we see it from that perspective and we understand within our own life experience how many times we did what might be wrong or bad because of the state of consciousness we were in, not because you're a bad person.
Yeah, that's
from the
beautiful.
highest level, all is forgiven. And it's funny to think about that, right? Many of us on the spiritual path would say we've had multiple lives, maybe we have experiences of those, maybe we have memories of those, but we would all probably agree that we have grown and expanded, that we have become more conscious through our journey through this human experience. It is the journey of the soul through the human experience. The journey of the soul through the human experience, whether you believe it's been multiple lives or this one life, it is the journey of the soul going through this human experience. And we've all been all things. We've explored all these different levels of consciousness and all the different emotions and the experiences that occur within those different levels of consciousness. Most of us would agree we're getting better. We're becoming more loving, more sovereign beings, more empowered, more free than ever before. And yet, if there was some horrible, bad thing that was judged by source to be that way, then we wouldn't see ourselves grow and expand and become more loving and more compassionate and more conscious beings. So we have to honor that journey, the journey of the soul, for everyone else as well.
Mm.
You cause your own suffering when you think you know what another soul's journey should be, or when we get entangled with right or wrong, which is all our judgment. And when we entangle with right or wrong, or what's bad or what's good, and that starts getting all of our attention, now we're entangled in lower level agendas, lower levels of consciousness. And now you have lost your consciousness. You have lost your presence. You're now in fear, so you can't hold the vibration of love. But again, that is what the world needs most from you right now.
Mm. It's funny. How would you equate that? Because for me, a lot of I'm getting to this point where I'm really being asked this unflinching peace. It's like being at the center of everything. Just my peace is just, it's different things can happen, but the center of my peacefulness and the love that I want to see through it all is really what's running most of the show. I can't say it runs it all the time, but it's being called in as part of my mastery right now. And in that, there's an aspect in seeing God in everything and everybody.
Yeah, you're either allowing in every moment or you're denying. You're either allowing the God that you are, you're allowing the God in others and seeing the God in others, or you're denying that they are God, and you're denying that you're God, and you're denying that God exists in everything. And that never feels very good to us. It never feels quite right because it's just simply not the truth.
Well, speaking of the truth, there's a process you're going to take us through to get and discover that truth within ourselves.
Yeah.
Does it feel good to go through that right now?
Yeah, I think we can. I think, part of the process, right, is coming to that place within you, there's a couple of different things of where you're speaking your truth. And in that, we also begin to open up to not only greater awareness, but you and every single one of you, we have these abilities and these gifts that we came here with. And they're innate within us. You probably have never learned how to do these things. You probably always felt like you were capable of something more, but it's really time to engage your abilities and your talents. And we still have barely touched the surface. Even those of us who identify as healers, way showers, messengers, people with, abilities, understanding all sorts of different awakening codes, whatever it is, no matter how much you think you have evolved your own gifts and abilities, there is still so much more that is possible for you. And so a lot of times when we try to speak to our higher self, or most of the time when we have a situation with someone in our life, we tend to argue about it in our heads. We tend to deny the God in them and deny the God in ourselves. And we go down into the density, into the struggle to try to force our way through these conversations, try to force our way through these situations. And the other thing I hear from people so many times is this wanting to speak their truth. And yet what often happens is what's going on in the world around you, in your relationships, what you're seeing in the world around you is reflecting to you how you are relating to you. Mm-hmm. It is your relationship with you. Everything. There is nothing random in your experience. And that is not to say that no one would ever create chaos or trauma in their experience. I have a client that demonstrates this so perfectly. We were having a conversation, and again, this is very much part of living mastery in this time of awakening. We're going beyond manifestation. We're going beyond this idea of trying to find something out there or that would make us feel better, either relationship or money or our bodies, to understanding how to really sit in the force field of creation that you are and drawing more particles, infinite particles of creation to you. We're going into this time of mastering impeccable creative expression, dedicated to the highest good of all. But the significant thing about true creation is that it has no personal agenda. So when we are in lower levels of consciousness and awareness, and we're trying to fix what's wrong, and we're judging something about ourselves as even being wrong, or circumstances and conditions, we're automatically in resistance, which always causes pain, which always makes you feel really separate from your soul, source, your guides. Most of the time, people want to talk to their guides or their higher self or their angels when they're struggling, when they're in the lowest points. And yet, because of the vibration you're in, you're about as far away from your guides as you could be. They're right there. Imagine that you're at the bottom of the stairs. They're right there, but they're at the top of the stairs. So if they're up 20 flights of stairs, they're right there in the same moment. They're just vertically in a different place than you. So when you start going up the stairs, then all of a sudden, you know your guides are there. You can hear them. You can hear what they're saying. You can feel them. You can sense them. But we normally ask when we're in lower levels of consciousness. So when we assume, it's funny because this was an interesting, really important piece of wisdom from the council. Assume that everything. is always happening for you. Assume that everything is always serving in your enlightenment, in your realization, serving in you coming into your mastery. Now, when I first heard that, as I was listening to a replay of the council talk about that, a little bit of an echo, John, there we go. I remember I reflected back on the 4 agreements, right? Not assuming. And so I thought, well, we're not really supposed to assume. But then when I really sat with it and let it go deeper, assume that everything is not only happening for you, assume that everything is serving in your enlightenment or your realization or your ascension, if that's what you want to call it. Everything is serving in your realization, realizing yourself as the master that you are, so you can really live as the master that you are here on earth. And so assume everything. So we had this conversation. The next day, she went out with her husband. Her husband sort of randomly out of the blue said, hey, do you want to go for a ride with me to go run an errand? And she said, yes. And she said, do you want me to drive? And he said, no. And she's riding in the car with him. And all of a sudden, something catches her eyes. They go through an intersection, and she turns and she looks and she realizes a car is coming full speed, ran the red light, and is about to hit her. And in this moment, she sees him, and in the very last second, he swerves. But he hit and totaled their car. Airbags go off. She sits there for a minute, looks at her husband. They realize they're both totally okay. They get out of the car. The guy who hit them had left the scene. They later found out that he had robbed a house and was fleeing from the scene. And what a perfect opportunity to practice this. Assume, just assume in some way that this is happening for you. And she did. And by the end of the day, a few hours later when she went to bed, she was laying there. She was really in that space of peace. And she actually, in the same day, got to the level of being able to say thank you to the man that hit her and left the scene. Because had he not swerved in the 1 second, if he didn't look, swerve, hit a different part of the car, she probably wouldn't be here. And she fell asleep being grateful to him, saying thank you. Not for him, for her. Because what has happened since then, the freedom that experience gave her, the total trust in the universe, the total knowing that she's on this planet for a reason, the level of gratitude and mastery that she received in that experience absolutely was serving her. Even though we all might say that's an unwanted experience. So I'm saying all this, we're going to go into the process here shortly, but really understand that there's a much greater potential here for you to live in higher levels of consciousness and awareness where you have a completely different experience as the master that you are than you had as a human trying to struggle through the limitation we often learn and entangle with in this human experience. There's a potential for every single one of you, no matter who you are or where you are in your life experience, to really live as a master, and everything begins to change, as I know you well know. And John, we've talked about this. This isn't master like you're hierarchically better than anyone. This isn't about walking around telling everyone you're a master. It's about living. It's about the way of being with the living as this ascended master that you are. You know, the title of this show is You Are the Council Here on Earth. We look to the council for answers. We look to higher levels of consciousness for answers. We look to spirit guides and people who channel and archangels and ascended masters. We We want to know what they know. We want to know their perspective. We want to know a higher way to live. And they have done their part. They have given us that higher way. They continue to give us that higher way. But you are the council here on earth, and we have to live this. That's what changes things. And the council says, imagine in all of human existence, maybe there were 10,000 ascended or enlightened masters that walked the earth. In all of human existence, maybe there were 10,000. Most every single one of them immediately left the body upon their enlightenment or realization. And we're being asked to stay on the planet because this is where you're needed most. Because you seed human consciousness with greater potentials and possibilities. For example, greatest fear on our planet probably would be death. And if it's not death, it's how you're going to die, or when you're going to die, or the way you're going to die. And yet, in one generation, if we all live this wisdom that we have, if we all live as the masters that we are, and some of us choose to come to this point where it's just choiceless. We know 30, 40, 50 years from now, our journey here is complete. And through a series of a few days of time in nature and deep breathing, you come to this beautiful moment where you, in your last breath, release the density of the body, release the density, and continue on your journey through higher levels of consciousness. No struggle, no pain, no suffering, no disease. That is paving the way for what is possible, where humanity begins to remember that we don't have to experience the chaos and the struggle and the disease and the devastation and the suffering. And when you put suffering out of your own experience, when we transcend these things like suffering and lack and struggle, we may just have the potential to collectively put it out of the entire human experience just by you putting it out of your own. That's how important transcending these things is for each and every one of us. So I'm going to pause for a second and then we can go into the process before we do that.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful what's coming through and up, and you know, this part of the conversation is just reminding me a very deep conversation I had with someone from the community, and we went into a process like, why do you do what you do? Why do you want to help people? Why do you want to be of assistance to others? And she came with some very beautiful examples as to why, and they were amazing, and the intention of it was so beautiful. But there was a deeper layer. It's like, but there's something else. And then she was stumped. It's like, close your eyes for a second. And maybe y'all want to do this also. Just close your eyes for a second. Why do you want to do the things that you do? And the answer is just because you love. Because you love. And I believe that suffering emanates because we've had to justify how we love in so many different ways that we've gotten away from that. And if we just get back to that core truth and own it, we just love. That's what we truly want to share in multiple experiences in multiple ways. That's really an impetus for the liberation and the freedom that unlocks this way of being and being in that co-creative energy that the council, that these ascended masters are guiding us to remember that we have access to.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it's a really important process to kind of expand on what you're saying. You are choosing all day long. You are a powerful creator. We're going to talk more about this when we get into the special offer, but you are a powerful creator, either of what you want or creating more of what you don't want. We don't get what we think we need. We get more of what we are, period. You get more of what you are. And especially as you go into higher dimensions of consciousness and you elevate your vibration even more, you even more powerfully get more of what you are. You're a force field, and the particles of infinite creation within that force field are responding to you. And so the more elevated your consciousness and vibration, the more you are drawing those particles of infinite creation to you, and they're responding to you, and you are getting more of what you are. So when you create lack and limitation, and a big part of what is talked about in the special offer is that you're choosing all the time. So when you create something and you make it outside of you, you're putting it outside of your force field. It's like this little game we play with ourselves. We create this separation, we're going to put it out there, and then we're going to believe we're separate from it. We're going to believe we don't have what we want and need, and we're going to go through all this struggle and lack and limitation to get what we want. Versus, to your point, when you have a moment and something doesn't feel okay within you, and you think there's something you want or need, first off, stop and ask yourself, what do I want? What experience do I want to have? Don't ask yourself, what should I do? What experience do I want to have? What do I want to experience? What do I want? What do I want more of? And if the answer is money or relationship or something to do with your body, or I want to know what my purpose is, why? Why do you want to know what your purpose is? Because then I'll feel like I'm in the right place doing the right thing. I'll feel like I'm enough. I'll feel like I'm free to really be who I am if I'm doing what I'm here to do. Your body, a lot of times it's for freedom. I want my body to be healed or fixed so that I have the freedom to do the things I want to do, so that I'm free to go walk in the garden or go walk in nature without pain. Why do you want the relationship you want? Council says what you really want is their energy. You really want their energy. It's all kind of about energy, but it's about energy and freedom. You want the freedom. If you found the one, if you found your soulmate, that one person, then you'd be free to be who you really are, because they'd get you. And then you'd be free to be who you really are, right? The same with money, freedom. You know, it really is not so much about the money ever. I want the energy that comes with it, and I want the freedom that comes with it. And in that, we think we'll feel better. And yet, energy is here every moment for you. But when you're in a higher rate of vibration, when you're open and allowing, all of the energy can serve you. When you're holding yourself down in denser vibrations or emotions, you're not really allowing all of that energy. And the truth is that you are free, but only you can set yourself free. And the thing that usually keeps us from experiencing the freedom that is innate and inherent within you are the thoughts that you're thinking, and usually the thoughts that you're thinking about yourself. I find with most everything, if you just go one layer deeper, it's about freedom and it's about energy. And so when you know that that is available to you right here in this moment and you align with it, so take a moment. This is kind of a second process, but if you just take a moment and you go, what is it that I want? So John, what is it that you want?
For me, it's all about presence now. Even when I try to get into what I want, it brings me back, where do I want to feel right now?
Yeah, exactly. What do I want to feel right now? What do I want to experience right now? So presence. Okay, so if we just close our eyes, let's all do this together. Just close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Move your attention from your head down into your heart. Just let go of everything we've talked about. Come into your heart and really feel what presence feels like. Really feel what it feels like to be totally present. Feels calm, feels peaceful, feels grounded. Can feel grounded, but can also feel really expansive. Feel into what it really feels like to be present. And just stay there because it feels really good. But stay there until you really feel this deep sense of presence. And then focus every cell of your body to align with that feeling of presence. Really focus every cell, align every cell of your body to feel that sense of presence. And stay there because it feels really good. But stay there until you notice every single cell of your body, from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet and out your fingertips. Every single cell feels this deep sense of presence. And then expand that feeling out from you, like this light that is coming from your heart in the center of your being. And expand that out through every cell of your body, 1 foot around you in every direction. And now align every single particle all around you, 1 foot in every direction. From the center of your being, align every single cell, every single particle to feel and align with that vibration of presence. And then see that light going out to fill this whole room, the room that you're in, the house that you're in, just expanding and expanding this light that is you coming from the center of your being, your power source. And you're aligning every single particle of creation in this force field of light that is you. And you're aligning it to the vibration of presence. And it's so strong and it's so powerful. You could, as high as the heavens, down to the center of the earth, in every direction. Just imagine that all you see is this light that is coming from within you. And you align every single particle of creation within that light to align with the vibration of presence. A calm, balanced, peaceful yet powerful space. And you can feel that in that you have everything you need and more. You're supported in your presence. Can you feel that?
I can, yes.
Yeah. So when we ask ourselves, what do I want to experience right here, right now? And we go within us and align within us to that feeling or that frequency or that vibration. And then we consciously, intentionally align every cell in our body. And then we consciously and intentionally align every particle of creation in our field. Then you're drawing to you more particles of infinite creation that are aligning to that level of presence. And then everywhere you go, you're taking this energy of presence. And what happens is people start saying, wow, you're just so present. Wow, I just feel so present when I'm with you. Or love, any feeling, love, abundant, the sense of well-being, the sense of freedom. So what do I want to experience? What do I want to feel right now? You can do it. And what happens is we think that just sounds so easy, we don't do it. And then we just get more of the same. Or our physical senses want to be doing something more difficult, so it seems somehow more satisfying. But the doorway to heaven on earth, the doorway to higher consciousness, is being totally satiated in the moment as often as possible. And to me, that is presence, not only presence of all that you are, but present to the God that is in everything and everyone all around you, that is in the chair, that is in the tree, that is in the ground beneath you. When you are totally satiated by everything in this moment, you're acknowledging the divine in everything around you. That is powerful. And if that doesn't help you remember who you are, when you feel that sense of oneness and connection, when you know that those trees and the birds and the grass and the ground and the root systems, they all have intelligence, they have wisdom, they speak a language and communicate, and you have the ability to tune into all of that. And if you want to feel more supported in your life than ever before by Source, God, the divine, the universe, then come into a level of relationship with it where you open yourself up to that awareness and appreciation and consciousness of everything that is available to you. Because it is all here for you. And one of the things the council says is the master is one who dances with the beauty of all of creation. And when I heard that, although I think it's beautiful, my mind went, I don't really dance. And, the word's beautiful, all of creation, sometimes my mind's like, okay, but don't we have to do something? What are we supposed to do? Right? My brain hears, dance with the beauty of all of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And yet my human had not experienced that consciously yet. But once I allowed my awareness and my consciousness to start expanding, and I started feeling into this, what would it be like to dance with the beauty of all of creation? To be in total harmony with the beauty that is all around me. Once I started focusing my awareness on that, I began to perceive it. Perception, what you are perceiving, how you are perceiving anything, is what is drawing reality to you. The council says you are consciousness, and reality is actually moving through you. You are this field of infinite consciousness and potential and infinite potential, and reality is moving through you. You're drawing reality to you and through you for the experience of it. So when you start to perceive the beauty of all of creation that's around you, and you start harmonizing with it, and you start playing with it and dancing with it and communicating with it, then you literally create a whole new reality. And then that expands, and it just goes deeper and richer and more fuller experience of life. That is the greatest example of your human experiencing the truth of who you really are.
It's beautiful, Sarah. We have a couple of people that are writing in, and I'll point to Hector real quick, because he's saying he didn't feel anything while doing that, and he feels like he missed the mark, or he's at the lowest vibrational level. And I'd love your response on that.
So the first thing and the most important thing of that is the thing that often keeps us from experiencing our divinity, our truth, is our judgment of ourselves. We're still doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We still need to fix something. We're not in the right vibration. We're not doing it right. It's this judgment we have. And again, it's back to you're either allowing all that you are or you're denying all that you are. instead of, I'm getting this. This feels really good. I'm really choosing to allow all that I am. And, you know, it really is a process of going from your head down into your heart and breathe. You know, we have a big group of people on this call, but when we do this in smaller groups or we do this one-on-one, and I would say practice it on your own all day long. It's totally fine if you didn't feel anything. Maybe the cameras were distracting, maybe the sound was distracting. That's totally normal. But try it when you're out in nature by yourself sometime in a really peaceful place. What do I want to experience? What do I want to feel more of right now? And whatever comes to you is perfect, whether it's love or freedom or abundance or just even feeling supported. Then go from your head down into your heart. I recommend doing it with your eyes closed, and just feel what that feels like. What does freedom feel like? What does it feel like to be totally supported? What does it feel like? And just stay in that until you feel it. And then when you start to feel it, then focus on aligning every cell in your body to that vibration, to align with that vibration. You know, start moving that current of light and energy from your heart and focusing every cell of your body into that vibration. And just notice if you feel a little bit better, because there is no right or wrong way to do this. Mm-hmm. But we have, you know, last time we were on in season 21, we talked about going from this time of transformation into mastery. You know, as we look at different levels of consciousness, the third dimension of consciousness from the council's perspective, and this may be different, you know, it really is about understanding our physical senses, understanding some of these concepts. So if you have the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, it is not a hierarchical thing. Mm-hmm. And you don't, it's not like earning your right into these other levels of consciousness. And sometimes you can be in a higher level of consciousness and then something happens in a moment or two and you find yourself in a lower level of consciousness. It's about staying in higher levels of consciousness or vibration longer, for longer periods of time, getting there faster, catching yourself faster when you shift out. And then it's just not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. Don't judge yourself. Don't shame yourself. Don't try to think something's wrong with you. Sometimes we're addicted to that.
Yeah.
And I'll say it for myself. I was addicted to what is wrong with me? What can I fix? What can be better? What else can I learn? That constant seeking, looking, trying to fix something. And sometimes we just get a little bit, you know, so focused on that. It's a wonderful thing, that time of transformation, you know, when we're going through, we understand we're not our circumstances and our conditions, that we can change our circumstances and our conditions. We can change things and transform. You know, I was having a little moment the other day, John. I was looking back at one of the first pictures of one of the first shows we ever did together, long time ago. You know, you and I have both transformed a lot in that time. And a year from now, you'll continue to transform. That doesn't mean you weren't perfect just the way you are.
Right.
We are perfect, yet always expanding and becoming more. So it's just about different levels of consciousness and awareness you're in. And hierarchically, it doesn't make us better than anybody else. But your experience can be a lot more enjoyable. It can be a lot more fun. You can really love and embrace yourself. And when you allow all that you are, you know, for a lot of people, that's the ultimate freedom.
Yeah. Well, I want to take it to the beginning teaching of this call and invite that in. So yeah. If this is all happening for you, and I guarantee you that it is, if you ask that question, if you think you're not doing it right, you're not feeling something, but then you remember, wait, this is happening for me. Then ask, why is this happening in this way?
Yeah.
And then you inquire from that place, then you know it's all in alignment for you. And so maybe, and I'll invite it, maybe you weren't supposed to feel out to everything else. Maybe it was the intimacy within you that was lighting up. And that was the calling for you. And again, allowing the curiosity of the rightness to really transcend the moment rather than what's wrong and why can't I do this like everybody else or how I'm being guided, but not get caught up in the outcome, but be caught in the presence of expanding presence. Then we go through different trajectories. And as expanded as Sara is in her communication with the council and all these practices she has in place, I'm sure there's days that you're just within yourself, period. And that's where you stay, or moments. I won't even say days. You know, you're so multidimensional, but we get to be in that place just depending on what's arising. We're in a collective soup. We feel a lot of things around us, and it's beautiful to have the awareness of the different experiences that we can play with. And again, understand that they're all showing up for us, not to us.
Yeah. And sometimes it's because there is something more, right? Maybe if you would have felt it in this call, you wouldn't continue to be curious about it. You would have been like, oh, that felt good. I got that, right? But maybe it sits there a little bit, and maybe tomorrow or a week from now, you remember that. And all of a sudden, this beautifully orchestrated experience and this expanded experience of even feeling presence is felt by you. You might have your own enlightenment experience in just continuing to stay open about what does presence feel like to you. And just, we draw to us based on the questions we're asking. The council said, you know, for a lot of us, and John, you and I have talked about this, we went through our awakening experiences at a very similar time in a very similar way. And it's that the question we were asking at that time is, who am I? Who am I? Why am I here? Like, what is this all about? I did all the right things, so I thought, and yet why am I still not feeling the purpose and fulfillment that I thought I would? So we're asking the question, who am I? So then you draw to you all these experiences, some of them to figure out who you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And all experiences provide data and information. There is no experience that is ever wasted. But the faster you choose that this is happening for me, I know there's a gift in this. I know there's a gift here. I know there's something here for me that is going to take me deeper, that is going to expand me, a gift, an opportunity, a connection. Something is going to come from this that is divinely orchestrated for me. This is happening for me. Not to me, for me. The second you shift your consciousness to that, all of a sudden, all these things start coming in. And it's a beautiful experience. But now we're asking some different questions. And, you know, is one of the topics for today's call. So once you kind of know who you are, I mean, I think that's always expanding. You know, we're always going deeper. We're always kind of allowing our light to shine a little more. We're seeing these things. Let that be a beautiful experience. Like, we're no longer working on ourselves all the time. You're playing and creating and discovering, and it's a level of curiosity and innocence by which we ask the question now, who am I? So the next question is, what experience do you want to have, right? The council says the question that they invite us into now is, imagine you are here on this planet and you are an ascended master. You have ascended into higher levels of consciousness. We all come from higher levels of consciousness. Every single one of us come from higher levels of consciousness. Every single one of us is a divine, sovereign, infinite being. We focused ourselves into this human experience. You literally took your consciousness, focused into the human experience until you slowed the particles of infinite creation and moved yourself into form. And the council says one of the ways that you know you are an ascended master is because of your love, because you so love humanity, because of your love for the animals and the planet and the land, for the entire human experience. Council says there are no other beings anywhere in the universe that are more conscious and loving than you.
Hmm.
You focused yourself here for an epic adventure because of your incredible love for humanity. You are an ascended master here on earth. And the world needs you to come into your full realization. Some people might say that it doesn't matter if you reach enlightenment or realization, that it doesn't matter if you reach ascension, that, you know, it's not even possible or necessary. And there's just something in my being that doesn't align with that. So maybe it's true for them, and I totally respect that. But for me, I know that the way we serve in the greatest possible way, John, you and me and everyone in this community that's listening to this, as we serve by fully coming into realization and living like the master that you are on earth at this time. That is what the world needs. Truly realized masters living on the planet in physical form. Not more people that are in lack and limitation, not more people that are struggling and suffering, not more people that you know are in difficult, painful relationships. The world needs you to step into your realization and to stay on the planet and live as the master that you are. You are the council here on earth. Every single one of you. So, how would an ascended master live his or her life? That's the question. And I've been playing with this question. I'm not trying to arrive at one answer. I am playing with all of the experiences that I draw to me because I'm asking that question. You don't think of an ascended master going, oh, I had this inspired idea. You know, Jesus inspired me with this idea, but I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough money, or nobody's going to let me do it, right? An ascended master, when we think of source, the divine, God has everything he or she needs and more, right? God is everything, is all that is. And so are you. So start asking yourself that question. How would an ascended master, how would a master live his or her life? They would play, they would create, they would follow the energy each day and let the light guide the way. They would focus on the experiences they want to have. They would not deny the source within them by saying, I'm too old, or I'm too broke, or I can't. So, with the greatest compassion for yourself, live as the master that you are. Don't deny who you are.
It's a really interesting comment that came in from Linda, because it's like a lock that shuts down that potential. And again, it comes from a perspective, but it's a worthiness thing. And she's saying that she struggled to understand this, and it was an issue of worthiness for her. And some people don't feel like they're worthy, or that they are not, that's not for them. Who are they to be that?
Who are they to be who they are?
To be the master, to be in that space.
So to not be that would be to deny that you're good enough, deny that you're smart enough,
Right.
deny that you're talented, deny that you have abilities, to deny that you're here for a reason, to deny that life is meant to be good for you, to deny that you have a source that is aware of you, that is always guiding you. And I almost want to say, who are you to think that about yourself? It's almost harder to argue for your limitation at some point.
It's funny because this is actually taking me to the beginning of the call and what I wanted to do with you when I got on the call. It's like, instead of struggling with, well, maybe it's this or not that, I just wanted to play. It's like, what if we played with being worthy? What if we just played with it, see how it feels, and see what it inspires in you? And it seems like we quickly realize it's like, well, why I've been doing it that way all along. This feels so much more freeing. It's so much more playful. There's so much more joy. I'm connected to other people, and we start choosing differently. But I think there's so much entrainment that we've said yes to and said, okay, we're going to be that for a while because that's what was shown to us. That's why you're all on these calls, and that's why you all follow Sara, and that's why the vibrational tone of what's being transmitted through these awarenesses and these relationships are like, well, this feels like the right direction that I want to go. And so I imagine like dolphins playing in the water. We want to be like the dolphins that are exploring all that territory because they can, and playing and creating, not manifesting, creating in their presence. And with that, unworthiness it's not even a thing. It's like, it's not even, oh, I'm worthy now. Because do you think you're worthy now? It's not even it's not something that, it doesn't cross my consciousness unless I'm bringing unworthiness in somehow to compare it to. So it's interesting.
And worthy of what?
Thank you. Right.
So what it is actually is, in my opinion, worthy of energy. So what is God? What is source? Energy. What is the divine? What is creation? What is it? It's energy. So you're not worthy of energy? Money is energy. Relationships are energy. Your body is all made up of energy. Everything is energy. So what you're really saying I'm not worthy of is energy. When the very definition from the council's perspective of being a sovereign being is to recognize that all of the energy is for you. Mm-hmm. That all of the energy is for you. When you open and allow energy, John, if you and I were sitting here in the same room, which we sort of are, and if I'm saying, John, all the energy is for me, and you're saying all the energy is for me, what are we both going to feel? Happier, lighter, freer, more playful, more joyful, more vibrant, more radiant, more brilliant. And we're going to go together, do something even more exciting and fun and amazing, because we're both allowing all of the energy that is here for us. Me allowing all of my energy doesn't somehow deplete you of yours.
Right.
So it's knowing that there's all the energy is here for you, and there's more than enough for everybody. And the lack of energy is really the problem with everything. Consciousness and energy. And the council says consciousness is what moves energy into form. So when you expand your consciousness and your awareness, you open up and allow more energy. And that's the greatest form of creation. It's amazing.
That is creation. That's sustainable. That's the infinite space. Sara, talking about it's all for me, and I want to take time for this. This special offer, y'all, is all for me, but it's for y'all too.
It is all for you, or for all of you, but it is all for you. Yes, you're right.
I want to get into it because this is going to be a long call. It's beautiful. It's going by so fast. But if any of y'all have to jump off the call, I want to urge you to stay on while we go through this, because there's a transmission in it as well, and to go deeper into what Sara's offering. And there's recordings and 3 live webinars. So and for the price, this is fantastic. So y'all, do yourself a favor. Do this because it's for you. It's for me also. Click on the special offer button on the webcast page where you clicked the Zoom link from. I almost couldn't say that. Or you can also type into your web browser beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Sarah22, and Sarah's SARA 22, and it'll take you to that same page. And Sarah, if you would guide us through what you created for us, what you created for me in the special.
Yeah, and I'm glad you noticed that, because I really did. And I have to tell just a little tiny story about this, because yeah, I did leave you a message the other day, because actually a couple years ago, you met someone at an event and you suggested that they connect with me. And they reached out recently, and it was a huge door open for me. It was in a funny way, another sort of dream come true. But as I was leaving you that message, I thought about all the people that I've met because of you. I thought about all the opportunities that came from meeting those people because I met you, because you believed in me, because you supported me in my gifts and my work. Not only this incredible BTO community that you brought into my life, and so many people that are part of our community and this work because of you, but all the connections that came from it. And I had this moment, and I was just like, I kind of was in it for about a week leading up to the show of, I don't even know who I would be. I don't know where I would be. I certainly wouldn't be living the life of my dreams right now the way I do had you not been a part of that and in my part of my journey and part of my story. And I can bring myself to tears in a moment just thinking about that. And in addition to wanting to create something really special for the show that I hope everybody takes advantage of, it is not something I've ever offered anywhere else. And it is totally, the live group calls are totally exclusive to this community, to this package. There's 3 live group calls that include Q&A, include channeled sessions with the council, include some integration conversation. We will get the latest information from the council. We will talk about how we live it. We'll go to Q&A. Most everybody knows that if I say it's 90-minute call, they know it's a 2-hour call, because we just allow. And one of the things I felt guided to do with this special offer is, especially with how life is going in this incredible unfolding of things in our current events, I thought, well, let's just leave it open and see what's going on at that time. And we'll let the highest information come through at that moment. And so 3 live group calls, July 2nd, July 30th, and August 27th, which cover this entire season and series of season 22. So live group calls, if you can't make the live events, no problem. They will all be recorded. You will not only get the transcripts or the replays, but you will also get the transcripts. This is not for sale on my website. You can't go buy access to these courses. This is exclusive for BTO. The other thing, which I have never made available, and we don't even offer for sale as a package, we have taken some of in this moment, top 10 favorite channeled transmissions and activations from the council from 2020 so far. And we have put them into these really high quality, really amazing MP3s. And it is 10 of the most powerful, I believe, channeled transmissions from the council so far in 2020. And we created them as part of this offer. They are available individually, but we don't have any offer other than through BTO to buy them all together. Just to buy those would be $250. We're offering that as just part of the package that goes with the 3 live group calls. So it is very special for you and for the BTO community because of my incredible love and gratitude. And this morning, I was talking to someone who's part of our community, and I was having this feeling of paying it forward, that I was being presented with the opportunity to be in someone else's life what you have been for me.
Oh, wow.
And you talk about like expansion, you talk about wanting to feel what it really feels like to be alive, what it really feels like to love and to know that you're part of something so much greater than yourself. And most of us never even know how what we have done for someone is creating a ripple effect in other people's lives or in the world. And we often don't even know how that's paid forward. But I'm so grateful that that happened today so that I could tell you.
Wow.
Because I'm really grateful for you in my life and April and the BTO community. It's just been one of the most extraordinary gifts of my lifetime to be part of this. So the package does reflect that, and it was special for you. And I, you know, we talk about value, it's like, yeah, of course, it's a, you know, $347 value, although I think it's priceless. But I want to make it affordable for everyone. And, you know, we've really, you and I have talked about this, you know, keeping things at a price of $97 so that it is affordable for everyone. And you have the 2 payment options. So I hope people will take advantage of that. Be part of the live group calls, the channel calls, and the Q&A. That really is the package. But in addition, we're giving you my 10 favorite channel transmissions and activations. And even if you've maybe heard some of these before, you know, people that are really part of my work, this has come as a request from many people that we take a portion of these channeled messages and just provide the council's transmission so that you can be in this incredible energy. And I have the experience myself. I can listen to the same one 5 times over 5 days, and I hear something different every time. In fact, I was listening to the replay of one of them a couple of days ago, and I've never heard the council say this one particular sentence before. I'd never heard them reference this one thing before. I'm like, that's the greatest thing they've ever said. And I'm like, how many times have I listened to this and I've never heard it? And one of the people in our membership community said, it was this, she described it perfectly. She said, I just thought to myself, that is the best message ever from the council. She said, I said in my head, how does this continue to always get better? And she said, in the moment she asked the question, the council said to her, you're just getting better at hearing it. You're just getting better at listening. You're just getting all of your beliefs out of the way to let yourself hear the truth of who you are and what's really possible for you. So it is for you. I encourage everyone to be part of this. We're going to have some really fun calls. They're going to be really amazing. They will be live channel calls. They will be live Q&A with the council. Every single one of them will be recorded. The replay will be available to you. So if you can't join the live call, no problem. The transcript will also be available to you. Just to transcribe one of these calls costs like $100 in itself. So you will have all of that. And I always believe that whether you're on the live call or you're listening to it sometime in the future, you know, your consciousness, your awareness, your higher self is there, part of that conversation with us. So please join us.
That's beautiful. Y'all, it's $97, 2 payment option. Take advantage of it. My brain's somewhere else, and I'm going to go there in a second. Take advantage of it. And you can do so again by clicking on the special offer button right underneath Sarah's picture on the webcast page, or type into your web browser beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Sarah22. And to go back and again, and I say this a lot very jokingly, and it's come up obviously as part of the wisdom coming through today. It's like, it's God loves me. You know, you're here for me. And I say this to y'all, and I say this with so much sincerity and love and appreciation, so much gratitude. It's amazing. As you're thanking me, I have to thank you in return, because you showed up as a manifestation of me saying yes into this exchange that there's no way I could have controlled or manipulated into being. It's manifestations of God's, of Source's love for me. And my choice to do that, as opposed to hoarding that energy of thinking I'm only going to be able to glimpse it, is to be in the present moment and to ask, how can I love? And it shows up in different ways. And sometimes I can judge it. Sometimes it feels really good. Sometimes it makes me really happy. Sometimes I have to lean back a little bit, and it might not be the most comfortable thing. But in that, the organic unfoldment of what keeps evolving in these waves between you and I, speaking about our relationship and how we show up for each other, it's been such a beautiful gift and such a beautiful maturity that's happening in me as I surrender even more and more than I have before. I thought I was trusting before, but now I'm trusting even more. And which means I'm also open up to the love that's manifesting through me as me. And the reflection of this being mirrored back to me through you showing up for me. That's creation. That's creation. And so thank you. And thank all of y'all. Because it's hard to put into words, but when you feel it, and again, there's an innocence and a vulnerability, because you kind of get choked up in your throat, because for me, it's bigger than what I am now, even though I'm the bigness of it all. It's me experiencing that and listening and hearing that in a different tone. So it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, just so much reverence for your gratitude and for that. Sarah, I know we talked about a process and also a little Q&A. Which would you like to go first?
Let's do a little Q&A, and then we'll maybe end with the process. We're going to talk about it. It's probably one of the most requested things that comes out of all of my work with the council, especially this year, which is the pyramid of light process, where you really understand your ability to communicate at a higher level with anything or anyone. And I feel this myself. I really am extremely more present in my life than I ever have been. And I spend so much of my life living in the pyramid of light, which is this higher dimension of consciousness that is available to you to have any communication with anyone, anywhere, anytime. And the miracles, the things that have happened, I don't even want to call them miracles, because it's just the miraculous things that have happened for myself and other people when they started using this process is one of the most life-changing, transformative, incredible things. It's your path to never struggle in relationships or with anyone ever again, or feel alone, or feel like you don't have guidance. It's the proof to you that you always do.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I can't wait to get into that. So cool. All right, so we'll get into that. So let's get into a couple questions. I see a few people have their hands raised, a lot of comments coming in the chat. If you all do want to ask your question live, you can raise your hand in the Zoom box, in your Zoom box there.
Your Zoom box.
Zoom box. So let me go to the first raised hand that I have here, and this is Martha. Martha, welcome. And Martha.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
Hi. Hello. I'm in this cosmic space thing in the background. Can you see it?
We can. We can see the world behind you.
It's so cool. Anyway, so my question is very simple, and it's that I know I haven't been allowing myself to be as big as I am. And I was wondering if the council and Sarah and John could help me with that. And the second part of my question, what I want to put out there is that on Monday, I'm having a heart procedure. And I've been in a lot of fear about it today. And the deepest part of me knows that it's going to be just fine, and I'm going to have a beautiful outcome. I want to get there, and that feeds into the allowing of all that I am. And I know that I came to be an ascended master. I know that I came to be a huge love presence, and at the same time I've had a lot in the way. So that's my question.
Is it okay if I say to you what just came through to me?
Absolutely.
Your heart has a message for you. And the reason it's here is to give you a message. And its message is, please trust me. Trust me. Your heart is asking for you to trust it. It is begging you. Trust me. Trust me to guide you. Trust me to support you. Trust me to make you feel alive. Trust me to help you feel who you are again. Trust me to show you and support you in being how big you are. Your heart is really asking to, I know this, I'm just going to say it the way it comes through, to be a part of your life. Like your heart has an intelligence. And some would argue in some ways that is even more intelligent than our brain. There is intelligence in your heart, and it has a lot of information for you. And it really just is asking you to trust your heart. Start having a relationship with your heart. Instead of believing what other people are saying, and I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not asking you to do anything different. Instead of everybody telling you what's wrong with your heart, start trusting it and have a relationship with it. So
That feels really
how would it feel to be as big as you are?
Oh, it would just feel so great. It would just be pure joy, just pure joy, lighting up the world everywhere I go.
So I know this sounds simple. You know exactly how it feels to be as big as you are, which means all you have to do in the moment is just not deny it. Don't let other people deny it. Don't deny it. Be who you are. Be who you know you are. And so it's a moment-to-moment thing. But don't say, oh, I'm too old to do that. Or, oh, I can't do that. Or, oh, so-and-so always told me that I'm not good at this. Or, oh, my whole life I've just not done this. Choose. Choose. I'm choosing to be who I am. I'm choosing to be all that I am. I'm choosing to be the light in the world. I'm choosing to be love. I'm choosing to walk into the grocery store, and even though I have a face mask on, I'm going to smile with my eyes. I'm choosing to see them. I am choosing to love them. I'm choosing to walk through the grocery store and down the street with a mask on my face and look so deeply to see people, the bigness that I am. I'm going to see them and love them. That is my bigness.
I do that. I love doing that. I've been doing that. It's so great to have those beautiful encounters.
Yeah,
that is your bigness in the world.
Sarah, I want you to expand on this, because what I keep getting for you, Martha, and I know, Sarah, you're going to expand on it. Martha, what if you realize that the bigness that you are is holding back the bigness that you are? that is the only thing capable of holding back that bigness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, really, let that sink in. The bigness that you are is holding in the bigness that you are, is holding back the bigness that you are. Nothing else is capable of doing that.
Exactly.
Because I have experienced feeling that I'm too big.
Ah.
Too big. Well, I shrank myself down, because sometimes people are overwhelmed, I think. But my soul is huge. It's just huge. And I have done that. You're right.
I'm not saying this is you, Martha, but it was me. So I'll just say it for myself, but I see this happen a lot. People don't feel like they can speak their truth. So sometimes all of a sudden we want to just tell everybody what we think they should know. And we want to tell them all what we think that would help them if they knew, and we want to fix them. And sometimes,
been there, done that.
Yeah. So sometimes, and I practice it myself, it's about being it, not saying it, not saying what you think they need to know, but being it. And my brain wouldn't have really liked that whole idea about 10 years ago, the whole concept of being, and that the most powerful thing is to be all that you are, because we want to do, and we want to say something, we want to tell them, we want to fix them, and we want to show, we're designed to be able to tell people how smart we are and what we know. That's what we learn in this human experience through education and all sorts of things, which is wonderful. But sometimes it's not saying anything at all that will show how big you are. Again, the greatest change comes through consciousness, presence, and love.
Yes.
Beautiful. Martha, thank
But
you
John,
so much.
yeah, that was perfect.
Thank you. Thank you
Your
so much.
bigness is
And
the
that's
only
what
thing in the way of your bigness.
it's down for me as just loving, just being love. And that's the hugest power in the universe. So I want to be that.
I
Thank
think
you.
Come back and listen to this replay, Martha, and really receive. There'll be another wave of truth that's flowing in for you, and you're receiving what Sarah's sharing with you. And we'll relax into your bigness even more, and then relax into it even more. And it's right there. So it's so beautiful. So sage, Sarah. Thank you. And Martha,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love you.
Sarah, I interrupted you. You were going to say something else to wrap it up?
No, what you said was great. I loved it.
Perfect. All right, let's go to Najib now. Najib, welcome.
Hey, hi. Thank you. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Great to have you here.
Sorry?
It says wonderful having you here. And what is your question for Sarah?
Yeah, my question was about if there would be any kind of past life, and would there impact our current life, and how to identify past life, let's say, if there were. It was simply a question that I was having in mind, and I know it's a bit difficult. Everyone has their own view on it, but I appreciate listening to your view on it as well.
So John and I have talked about this as we go on this journey. Certain times, certain concepts and ways of looking at something really resonates as truth. And sometimes as we continue to grow and expand, we may see that a little bit differently. It might mean something different to you. I'm really sitting in the council's teachings that we are multi-dimensional beings, that time is not linear the way we think of it, but all lives and everything is happening now. That time is really a vertical experience. Now, I wouldn't have even remotely understood that 10 or 20 years ago, even though I remember hearing something similar one time and going like, I know that's true, but I can't process that. So the idea of past lives, we go into this, the way we started kind of the conversation today, we've all been all things. whether you want to see that in past life experiences or this life, we've all been all things. We've all played out the little archetypal patterns and the different archetypes. We've all experienced being a victim. We've all experienced suffering on some level. We've all experienced lack and judgment and even, you know, played in poverty levels of consciousness. We've all been all things. Is it possible that we've lived multiple lives and incarnations? Absolutely, I think it's possible. Is it possible that we were guides and spirit and energy for lots of different people in lifetimes and have an awareness of those experiences and the consciousness that came from it? Absolutely. To the question of, can something from a past life be preventing you from whatever you want to experience in this moment? I absolutely do not believe that. That's not my experience. That is to give your power to something outside of you, to say that you're not a sovereign being, that you were somehow forced to come here to right some wrong from the past. And the truth is, we are all here of our own choosing. Now, did we choose a different experience this time? I remember this. I'll tell you two things that I think will help you from my perspective on this. My aunt was very spiritual when I was a child, and she was studying past lives and reincarnation. And it very much resonated with me. It very much made sense to me. And she said, and if anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge animal lover. She said, well, you probably love animals so much, and you probably care so much about helping them in this life because you probably harmed them and killed them in your past life.
Mm.
You probably lived at a level of consciousness in your past life where you didn't regard human life or animal life as a sentient being. And you chose to come in this life and experience that differently from a different level of consciousness. And even as a little kid, that made sense to me. That having had an experience of harming or disregarding animals in a different level of consciousness within the human experience, because of the love, maybe I did choose to come this time with incredible reverence for what beautiful sentient beings animals are. That's not a punishment. That's not you can't have the greatest life possible for you in this life because of some level of consciousness you experienced in a past life. The council says there is no right or wrong that you are judged by. And so when we believe that, normally what it is we are denying a part of this, who we are here and now, and giving a power to a past life. I think one of the most powerful examples of this that I've seen in my work with people who are part of my community was a dear, wonderful friend of mine who's part of our membership community and has spent a lot of time with me. She messaged me one morning. She said, I just had the most extraordinary experience. She said, I just had this awareness that in my past life, I was locked away and called crazy for my gifts and for what I knew. She said, and I am just having such a sense of freedom and awareness because I'm realizing that in a past life, I was locked away for everything I know, and I was locked away for being who I am, and I was called crazy. And so she had sent that to me, and we ended up having a live call that day. And we got to the Q&A portion of the call. She was telling the council that. She was saying, I get it now. In my past life, I was locked away, and I get it now. In my past life, I was called crazy for all of this. And the council said, no, beloved, dear friend, in this life, you've locked yourself away. And you've been calling yourself crazy for all that you know. And everybody out there was just reflecting back to you what you were doing with you. You locked yourself away. And you were the one calling yourself crazy for who you are and what you know and for the abilities you have. There really is no out there the way we think there is. Everything is a figment of your creation, and everything is reflecting to you how you are relating to you, how you are relating to the source within you. And that is how I see it now. That is how I see what we call past life experiences. From the vantage point and the viewpoint and the level of consciousness, now that is how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love your feedback or your insight, John. I think it's a great question.
I love that awareness of it. And again, if we get into, and I won't even call it an assuming, I'll have to call it into the knowing that everything is happening for me. If I'm having this remembrance of this past life, I know it's showing up for me. Not showing up against me or to punish me or to remind me of some deed that I did in judgment so I can go back and reprimand myself for it and make it right finally. It's showing up for me because it's an opportunity. There's a doorway opening down a path that I've chosen that I now go get to explore in consciousness and in getting closer to the divine. And what a beautiful opportunity to set myself free from any part of my consciousness that may have locked myself in that. And so I agree with you. It all shows up for me. And again, the reflection, again, as past lives, it's even as we think about past lives, we bring it all forward into this human experience, into this moment in consciousness. So it's all here for us now. And we can try to trace it back. We can talk about those stories and all that, but it's here. And in that, it's all showing up for us. So I love your explanation of it and the council's the council's certainty that that's what we have done to ourselves. It's so beautiful.
It can be, the past life thing can be very transformative, and the past life thing can be very disempowering.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of people, when they tell me about their past lives or when we think about past lives, we are almost always a victim. Well, in our past lives, he killed me. In our past life, these people did this to me. In our past life, we're always sort of a victim in our past lives. And in some ways, even to say, oh, I had a past life with this person, and so I owe them. Or I have a past life with this person, so they owe me. All of the energy is here for you, right here, right now. It always has been, it always will be. And to allow someone to treat you badly, or to not treat yourself good, or not treat someone else good because it has something to do with the entanglement of a past life karma, just doesn't even make sense to my being in any way. It is a way that we get distracted, that we disempower ourselves, and we give our power away in the moment. And that's why it might feel like something from your past life is holding you back in this life. But ultimately, it's you allowing all of the energy that's here for you now.
Pulling you forward, absolutely. So beautiful. Great question. Thank you so much, Najib. Let me take another caller here. Ash, I want to go to you now. Let's see here.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. First, Sarah, I finished Journey to the Master. It was incredible. Everybody who's thinking about it, do it. I have no words. Incredible. So opening. I can't even explain. And John, thank you. I can't tell you what Beyond the Ordinary has meant in my life. 2.5 years ago, I might have been at my lowest point in my life, and it kept me. It was my life jacket. So helpful. I can't even tell you. So thank you, both of you. So honored to talk to you. So my question, it deals with engaging with lower levels of consciousness. So my ex is from Africa, as is his family. He lives with them. And since coronavirus hit, our kids have been quarantined at his house with him and his family, where they all live together. So I've been going over there to see the kids. And I wasn't resistant to it. I was open to it. Some really amazing things have happened, but it is a lower level of consciousness. And where it's been challenging is where it involves the kids, because there's a total of 6 kids in the home. And, you know, I've realized now that the kids can speak the language, they can translate for me. There is threats, there's slapping, and I'm not really sure how I navigate that, where 1, I'm not in a place of judgment, and 2, I can actually be effective. And also, it is very intimidating because it, you know, just with the structure of the culture, like you respect your elders, you listen to them, they know what they're doing, right? There's a lot of dynamics at play where I'm not totally sure how to navigate that, but I do know that I stand for life being honored. And so I'm wondering how I can do that while also respecting where they're at.
Mm.
I have so much to say on this that I'm just really letting the highest words come through, which is, I think, what you have to do in that situation. You have to stay conscious and in your power. And that power is love and present, conscious, and loving. And when you try to figure out what you're going to say, when you start worrying about their future, when you start getting into the right and the wrong, now you're entangled in lower consciousness, in fear, and you're not very present because you're thinking about the way it should be or what it should be or all these different things you should say or do. And the very best thing I can say to you is stay present, stay conscious, stay in your power, and stay in your heart, and be the love that you are. And let the highest words come through. It's, you know, this is my Maya Angelou favorite story. Imagine if Maya Angelou, if you know who she is, right? Does everybody know, Ash and John, do you both know who Maya Angelou was?
Angela.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Maya Angelou. You know, imagine she's sitting in your living room, how would you act and behave? And I remember her telling a story where she was having a dinner party and she overheard someone make a racist comment. And in the most loving, powerful, present, conscious way, she said, not in this house. And she didn't make them wrong. She didn't make a scene, but she just stood in her power and she stayed conscious. And she said, that is not okay for me. That is not okay in this house. And you have the power to do that. Not make them wrong, not entangle with lower consciousness, but you can say what is and isn't okay for you. We cause our own suffering when we think we know what another soul's journey should be. But the truth is, these children are divinely powerful, sovereign beings of light. And back to our entire conversation here, I wonder how this is serving them. I know in some way that this is,
I can't find who that is. I apologize.
I think it's someone named Kat. Maybe you might be off of mute. There we go. So, you know, I am not saying that violence towards children in any way is okay. Certainly, I'm not saying that that's okay. But I'm saying, you know, it's really important to stay present and clear and not entangle and not go into the fear in all of this. Again, what the world and what your family and what these children need from you is to stay conscious. And in that consciousness and presence, you will always know what to say. You will always know what to do. You will allow the highest words to come through you. You will bring a level of presence into your interactions that have the power to change things.
Beautiful. Sarah, I want you to expand upon this, because this also takes us into, Ash, when you go into it and into that situation and you feel into, like, when after you walk away, it's like, oh, this happened and I was there and I was trying to do all these different things at once, is we can ask the questions, ooh, wait, where did I abandon myself in that? Where did I leave where was I not in my truth in that? Where did I neglect my love in that? And sometimes it's easy to touch that just a little bit because the feelings are so visceral, because it's so polarized, because we can feel an injustice happening, if you will, especially with children. It's like, wait, where's like, God, where did I just leave myself in that? And how can I show up better for myself and for those children at the same time? And then you become an emissary of light for them. They start feeling safe, perhaps in a way that you didn't in certain circumstances. And you change the storyline. You change not only their trajectory, but yours as well in the process. And it's you being in your truth, but really seeing it from a compassionate place, not because you didn't react previously, but it's like, well, of course I didn't know what to do. I grew up that way. It's like, God, now that I have this awareness, I can choose to love myself and another through this new awareness that's come through me because of this opportunity that's presenting themselves through this soul agreement that's also telling us to be very much human and bring in dignity into the situation. And dignity is a big word for me right now.
Yeah, you did touch on something that's definitely relevant, but recognizing like what they're going through, how I'm leaving a part of myself behind. So with the way that I was raised, it was, in an abusive situation. So I am recognizing how I could maybe let things slide just because I'm so used to it, but I'm very much, yes, making myself small, leaving myself behind. I'm afraid of the reaction that I'm going to face if I speak up. So there's definitely that turmoil happening within me where I'm in this situation. My heart just knows like, this is not okay, but I'm a little clueless as to what to do. And yes, presence is obviously.
And well, right there, you're not clueless. Go ahead, Sarah.
You need to know that this is an experience you are drawing to you to remember your power, to transcend your story about being a victim of abuse, and to come to a place where you are no longer triggered or in reaction so that you can stay conscious and present no matter what is going on, because you're not identifying with your own victim story feeling. And I know this is a word that John used a lot. It's inviting you into your power. This is happening for you to remember your power, who you really are. In the moment you take your last breath and leave the density of this body that you know as you, the story about you being abused and a victim is gone. One of the most incredible sessions I ever had was with a woman who had experienced what most of us would say is some pretty traumatic abuse. And the counsel said, in the moment you take your last breath, that story is gone. So why carry it around for the rest of your life? Because the form that you're carrying it around in is the form that you want to lose weight, you want to be healthier, you don't want to be so tired, you don't want to be so fatigued all the time. That story you're carrying around is really heavy. You can change that story at any time by saying, I'm a transformer. I stepped into patterns and generations of unconscious behavior. And I woke up and I live consciously. And I live in my power and in my truth and in my love. You are a way shower. You are a transformer. You are an uplifter. You are anything and everything you wish to be. That is the truth of who you are.
Sir, I want to ask you the council's wisdom or your wisdom, which I equate them as equal, by the way. What do they have to say about the process of actually embodying, like going through the physical experience, allowing our body to go through that roller coaster ride of getting to the other side? Because Ash, intellectually you can carry, I'm going to be love and I'm going to say this and this is where I'm going to emanate. And still there's that cellular memory, that physicality that's transcending this consciousness as well.
Council would say that that cellular memory exists in a state of consciousness.
Hmm.
So if you are in a lower state of consciousness and you're in fear and you're in judgment and you're shrinking down and playing small, you're literally slowing your rate of vibration, which moves you into a lower state of consciousness, which is where then that trigger can occur. It goes along to another question of someone saying about, don't we have to really kind of dig through all of our beliefs and programs and stories? Well, you can elevate your consciousness to a place where those stories aren't there. And someone also asked a question about spiritual bypassing. It's not about bypassing anything. It's about elevating yourself to a state of consciousness and awareness where you have a greater perspective and viewpoint of who you really are and what's really going on here. And so, one of the process the council took this woman through that I was mentioning earlier, in that particular story, she went to a party with a friend and experienced a situation where they came in, they couldn't get away, and she herself couldn't get away, and she was raped by several men. And the council said, okay, you're walking to a house and you're about to walk up the stairs and you just get this feeling that you shouldn't go in there. And so you don't. And where do you go? She said, well, my friend and I, we went to the coffee shop. She knew exactly where she went.
Hmm.
And the council said, well, what did you do there? What were you wearing? She told council exactly what she was wearing, exactly what coffee shop or ice cream shop they went to, exactly what they had, exactly what they talked about. They talked about planning a hike the next day. And then she told the council all about the hike she went on the next day. That's the story. So when you go back, when you feel that coming in, the story is the other potential that existed in that moment, the other timeline or possibility you've never explored, because you've spent so much time talking about this one potential that you really don't want to keep talking about and focusing on and digging up. And our body doesn't know when we get into that. So the thoughts you are thinking are affecting your emotions. Your emotions affect the way that you feel. So when you start thinking about it, and you start thinking about what happened, and you really go into the thought of all these things, all of a sudden your emotions get involved. And then your emotions affect the way that you feel. Your body doesn't know that that's not happening right now. So your body's responding as if that thing that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago is happening right now. And then you are in this level of unconsciousness that you get really into it. It can take you out for days. I'm just asking you or offering you the potential to explore something different, another timeline that was available, another potential, another possibility. And the thing about this for me, where I know the power of this, is because every single time the council takes someone through that process, every single time without fail, they can all tell me in detail what that other potential was, the other path they took, what the positive path, the highest path, the other potential, whatever you want to call it. They all know it in detail. And if they don't, they can go to the dimension of consciousness where that other reality exists. There is another dimension of consciousness where that reality exists. And I'm just offering you that you can go there.
That's beautiful, Sarah. That's beautiful. And I would recommend that for everybody. I do a lot of dream practice and going into dreams and changing outcomes in my dream state. And it has an effect in my physical life. in the decision-making process and what I'm ready to receive and all that. And it's powerful. So to do it in that awareness also, and into this version of our conscious stream, if you will, that's huge. So good, Sarah. Thank you. And Nash, thank you so much. Blessings to you.
So much love for you.
Blessings to you.
Thank you so much love. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all, we're gonna. Oh, go ahead,
yeah,
Sarah.
Go ahead, John.
No, after you.
I just want to remind us all this. You know, when we have a situation or a circumstance like what you're talking about, Ash, we're looking forward, we're trying to figure it out. And yet, if any single one of us think about something in our life that at the time seemed really tragic, really awful, something we wish didn't happen, I'll speak for myself. There is not one of those things that I don't look back at now as one of the best things that ever happened to me. One of the things that awakened me to a greater level, one of the things that took me on a path that I never would have gone, helped me remember my power, got me to be more clear on my truth. Because whenever this thing that I thought at the time was happening to me, I was like, this is not who I am. This is not what is okay for me. This is not what I'm about. This is not what I want my life to be. And it got me to powerfully focus on reconnecting with my own power. And it brought clarity, wisdom, gifts, all sorts of things. And so when you remember that, you can navigate these times with a little greater ease and grace, knowing that it is happening for you.
Yeah. And Sarah, I just want to add to that. If y'all are in any comparison energy with Sarah's story right now and say, yeah, it's easy because of this and easy because of that, and you don't know what I'm going through, you may not understand Sarah's journey. And I can speak for a little bit about getting too specific. It's facing death at the doorway. Literally at a very young age. And so I know Sarah's sharing this from experience and from a depth of gravity to the physical life that we have here. And I want to invite you, and instead of getting into comparative energies, like, how can I use this wisdom? All this is coming in for me now. How can I bring this to elevate my life? And in the process, I can't help but to elevate the lives of others. And what a beautiful gift to have that go back and forth in that way, that we get to witness it and experience it at the same time. So I had to add that to it, Sarah, because you can be very humble in that experience sometimes. So y'all, we're going into the process. And before we do that, I want to remind you the special offer here on Beyond the Ordinary Show. Click on the special offer button, go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Sarah22. You'll land on the same page. 3 live webinars, the best of the best. Is it 10 of the channelings that are coming in?
10. And they're all about 45 minutes, 40 to 45 minute channeled transmissions, activations of some of the very most powerful, best channel messages from the council in 2010. We've never made them available like this before. But really that is just the icing on this incredible opportunity for these 3 live group calls and live Q&A, only offered through this BTO special package. It's the only way to join them. They will be the highest information of what we most need to hear on the date and the time, in the collective, in the consciousness we're in those moments of those live calls. And like I said, all the replays and the transcripts will be available if you can't join live. I truly believe that you are part of those, even if you can't be on the live call. You know, please, if you feel guided to, it is really in the spirit of the wisdom and the awareness to support you, because you are the council here on earth.
So
and we are needed now more than ever to live our mastery, live our truth, and stay conscious in this incredible, powerful time that the council says is the greatest transformation of human consciousness that has ever occurred in any lifetime.
Beautiful. So good. Again, y'all, the special offer, click on the special offer button. April's typed in the link in the chat as well, so you can access it there. It's $97. There's a 2-payment option. I hope you take advantage of it and join Sarah and the council and the rest of the beautiful community that's there. Your community is amazing. So wonderful. And we'll send the replay link out a little bit later with the video. So that'll take a while to render. So watch for that. We'll send it in an email. And with those housekeeping things, Sarah, I'd love it if you can take us into the process.
Yeah, so we kind of did a couple of our favorite processes here. One of exploring other possibilities and potentials for any experience that you've ever had in your life or that you ever want to have. We also talked about the process of really activating the force field that is drawing particles of infinite creation to you. So what do you want to experience? You know, that process alone, I think if you do it, will change your life. It certainly has changed mine and created amazing things. I wanted to share this with everyone today, and I will do it a little bit briefly. It's called the Pyramid of Light process, and it's one of the things that people ask about the most as part of the council's teachings that we talk about. It is created the most miraculous things in my life and the many other people. And so the concept of this is whenever you want an answer, whenever you want to have a conversation with anyone, whenever you need to speak your truth, whenever you need to work something out, don't go down into the fear and the lack and the struggle and the continuing this, you know, way of holding ourselves in things. It is about going to a higher place. You can also go to this place and use this process to communicate with anyone living or dead, whether you knew them or not. I have people that use this process to talk to Jesus. I have people that use this process to talk to their loved ones that have passed. I have people that go to this to talk to Richard Branson to get ideas about business and strategy. You can do it with anyone. You can do it with an animal. You can do it with a consciousness, like a plant consciousness. You can go to Mother Nature. What I want you to start being aware of is that those of us who channel higher wisdom have the same ability that you do to communicate with anyone, any collective, at any time. It is about going into a higher vibration, into a higher state of consciousness where all of the answers are available to you. One of the most important things that has come out of this time of Corona is people really starting to focus more on their telepathic communication. And this is one of the tools that can help you do that. We call it the Pyramid of Light process. So whatever it is, whether you want to speak your truth to someone, whether you want answers, whether you want to talk to someone, whether you want to start activating your ability to communicate telepathically, this process will really help you. So I'm going to do it sort of briefly, just so you get the understanding. But first off, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, let everything go that we've been talking about. Just relax. And I want you to imagine wherever you are, that you're now, from wherever you are, going to set your intention to take this journey to a pyramid of light. And I'm going to call it a pyramid of light, but if you want to call it a temple or a castle, whatever it is for you is perfect. And I want you to imagine now that you're walking or flying or driving or swimming, and you're on the way to the pyramid of light. And I want you to just notice how you're getting there. Are you flying? Are you walking through a field of beautiful wildflowers with birds above you? Are you maybe even elevating yourself into the clouds where your pyramid of light is? Just notice however it is you're getting there. Notice the path that presents itself to you as you're on your way to the pyramid of light. And now out ahead of you with your eyes closed, I want you to just imagine that now you can see your pyramid of light. It is emerging, you're getting closer. And I want you to just notice what it looks like. Is it big? Is it small, like a teepee or a tent? Or is it huge and massive? What does it look like? What does the outside look like? Where is it located? Is it over an ocean, or maybe on the top of a tree, like a tree house pyramid of light? So as you get right to your pyramid of light now, I want you to imagine just before you go in that you notice the outside. Notice what it's made out of. Is it a structure? Is it pure light? Whatever it is, just notice it. Now I want you to enter your pyramid of light. Does a doorway appear? Do you reach down like you're opening a door or a gate? Does a wall just open? Go ahead and walk into your pyramid of light and just notice whatever is around you now that you're inside the pyramid of light. What do the walls look like? Is there a hallway? Just notice whatever it is. And then come to the center of your pyramid of light. You might notice that there's a special sacred place there. You might notice that there's pillows or beautiful fabrics or tapestries. Just notice what colors they are. There might be some chairs sitting there or some pillows to sit down on. Make your way to the middle of the pyramid of light. And I want you to now ask the higher self of anyone, anywhere that you would like to meet you in this pyramid of light. It can be anyone, maybe even someone you've never met, but it might also be someone in your life that you really want to talk to their higher self. Maybe you want to ask a question, or maybe there's something you want to say. Just let someone come to your awareness because they are now on their way into the pyramid of light. They're making their way through the door. They've made their way into the center of the pyramid of light, and now you can see them. And I want you to just notice what they're wearing. Notice what they look like and how they greet you. What are they feeling? Are they smiling? Are they happy? Allow their higher self to come and be part of this conversation with you in this pyramid of light. Allowing them to greet you as you greet them. And after you've said hello to them, maybe you just acknowledge the divine self or the higher self of one another. Maybe you embrace or hug or shake hands. But now invite them to sit down with you in the center of your pyramid of light. Maybe some chairs appear, or maybe you sit on these beautiful cushions made of beautiful tapestries or fabrics. And as you're sitting across from them and they are sitting across from you, either notice if there's something you'd like to ask them or something you'd like to say to them. And when you're ready, just go ahead and ask them or say whatever it is you want to say to them. It's knowing you're in a safe place. You're here with their higher self. Either ask them or say whatever it is you want to say. And when you're complete, as you look into their eyes and connect with them, now see what they have to say to you. What is it that they want to say to you? Are they answering your question? Are they responding with the highest words or highest answers? What is it that they want to say to you? Let them give you their message or their answer. And just take a moment. It's going to give you a moment to say or to ask or to listen, to hear what message they have for you, what it is they want to say to you here in this pyramid of light. And for you to have a moment just to say whatever it is that you want to say to this person, to this being. And you can stay here as long as you wish in this beautiful conversation. You can ask more questions. You can talk. You can say what needs to be said. You can come back here anytime with them or anyone. But for now, is there anything else that they would like to say to you? Is there anything else that they would like to say to you? And then, is there anything else that you would like to say to them? Is there anything else you need to say, or anything else you'd like to say to them? Go ahead and say it now. And when you're complete, and it's time for them to leave the pyramid of light, go ahead and say goodbye, whether you hug or embrace or honor each other as beings of light. When you're ready, go ahead and say goodbye. And then notice how they leave the pyramid of light. Do they float away through the light towards the sun over the horizon? Do they turn and walk through a door that appears in the wall? Do they wave goodbye as they skip down a trail of pebbles through the wildflowers? But as they are leaving the pyramid of light, just notice that they're re-emerging back into the light, that you are now here in the center of the pyramid of light. Take another deep breath. Is there anything else in this moment that you need to know? Any messages? Anything else? Just take a moment and a breath, knowing that you can return to the pyramid of light at any time. And when you're ready, come back into this moment. Come back into your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Come back into this moment. And just know, while that was a brief exercise or part of the process of using the pyramid of light, that you can go there anytime, as often as possible, with anyone, to have any conversation, to say whatever needs to be said from the highest perspective, in a state of consciousness and reality that is always available to you. And when we get off of this call, since we're ending here now, just take a moment and maybe write down, journal, anything you heard, any messages you got. It's always good to do so after we come back from the pyramid of light, so that we remember what we saw and what we heard. Maybe it makes perfect sense in this moment, but maybe it'll make even more sense to you in the coming days or moments to come. So that's the process, and I encourage you to use it and have fun with it. And thank you for letting me share it. I hope you enjoyed it. Anything you want to share with us, John?
Oh my God, that was freaking amazing. That's what I have to share. That's my awareness. Deep, right?
Yes, it is deep.
I invite you guys to come back. Again, it'll be on the replay and you can access it again. And it's, wow. Wow. Thank you, Sarah, for that.
Yeah.
What a gift. Ooh, where I traveled to. Amazing.
Wonderful.
And my ability of how I could travel was amazing also. It's like you kind of wow yourself in the process.
Yeah.
And so it acknowledged just how masterful each one of you are at getting to different places there. So amazing. Sarah, thank you so much. Y'all, again, the special offer, go deep with Sarah in the community. You know where to access it now. The link's in the chat also. The replay will go out a little bit later today. And Sarah, again, thank you so much. What a fantastic call and such a beautiful experience.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you so much, my friend, and April and this community. Thank you. This has just been great. I always love playing and creating and having fun with you, John. So thank you. I love you dearly, my friend, and I appreciate this opportunity.
I love you as well. And then I love you all as well. Deep bow and namaste. And with that, I look forward to seeing you on the next call. Good night.
Bye, everybody.